It's been in the news lately that the Florida legislature is looking at changing Florida's PIP law. And what does that mean, right? Well, my name's Eric Stevenson, and I'm an attorney at Stevenson Klotz. We're a personal injury firm in Pensacola, Florida. And I'm here today to tell you what's going on this legislative session about PIP law. And I know that sounds boring. Oh, he's talking about the legislative session. But let me tell you what Florida's PIP law is and why it's looking to be changed. And what effect that may have on you. Most states in the country require people who are driving to have mandatory bodily injury coverage. In other words, if I'm in a car wreck and I run into you, you're going to make a claim against my insurance, and I have to carry a certain minimum, usually $25,000 or so. Florida doesn't require that. So people can drive in Florida legally within the law and the requirements for mandatory insurance without having any coverage whatsoever to pay for somebody else when that person causes the accident. Instead, what Florida did in the 70s was it came up with a law called the Florida Motor Vehicle No Fault Law, otherwise known as PIP, Personal Injury Protection Insurance. And what it requires is that every driver carry $10,000 worth of insurance to cover their own injuries, medical bills, funeral benefits, and lost wages at different percentages, to make sure that if they go to the hospital, that their medical bills will be paid for up to, for medical bills, 80% of the first $10,000. But what that means is that a lot of people drive around and they don't have insurance in case they hurt somebody else. So once my $10,000 is used up, if I'm injured in an accident, then if somebody else hit me, I can't go after them if they didn't go get bodily injury coverage, and they're not required to have bodily injury coverage. I would then have to go against my own uninsured motorist coverage, which I do have, and I recommend everybody have, and that's a topic for another time. But what Florida's trying to do is get like the other states in the union and say, we are going to require that everybody carry $25,000 of mandatory bodily injury coverage, so that if a person causes an accident, there's going to be at least $25,000 worth of coverage from the other person to pay for injuries and other issues related to an auto accident. It makes a lot of sense. It does make it a little more difficult for people to go and get, emergency care. The hospitals and a lot of doctors really like having that PIP coverage, and so I know there's some talks of having maybe some mandatory med pay coverage, which would be similar. It's there are pros and cons to PIP and bodily injury insurance, mandatory bodily injury insurance, but it looks like the legislature may make this change. And so what's that going to mean? Well, we'll have to see. Some people think there are some studies that say it will cause auto insurance rates to go down. I frankly, it probably should, but at the same time, I've never really seen auto insurers ever reduce their rates. So it may just increase their profit margin for a while. Who knows? But we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But we're early in the legislative session. The legislature has tackled this issue, tried to tackle it before, and has really never come to a conclusion. They made some changes to the PIP law a few years ago, which made it even more complicated. And that's one of the issues, is the law is very, very complicated, and it makes it hard for people to know what kind of doctor they can go to, when they go, how quickly they have to go. And so we'll see what the legislature does. We'll keep everybody updated, because once this law is passed, people may have to go change their insurance to be able to comply with the law, and we want to make sure everybody knows what that is. So my name's Eric Stevenson. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you ever have any questions about Florida's weird insurance laws or automobile accidents, I'd be happy to answer them for you. My number is 850-444-0000, and I look forward to talking to you, and thank you for joining in.